So we have a question from a viewer about how, what is happening with steps to improve broadband internet in greater Minnesota? And I know there's been some discussion about that. In fact, I think the governor has mentioned it a couple of times. I don't think we get much more rural than Laverne or Rock County, so maybe we should start with you, Senator Weber.
Well, certainly broadband remains an issue. I know some people want to say, well, we need to think about satellite and wireless technology, and those are great things, and hopefully over time they'll improve to a point where they can be applicable in more areas. And yet the need does remain for broadband grants, I think, to be in place and to actually do some hardwiring out there in our communities. I do believe that, quite frankly, the broadband issue is to rural Minnesota in many respects what the rural electrification was for many years ago. I recently sold a property to a couple that they were able to come back in the community thinking ahead of their parents and caring for them, but also the fact that they could live in any community they wanted as long as they had access to that broadband. And so that too is an important element. And as we think about issues of lowering health care, telehealth care and that type of thing, we have to make sure that, quite frankly, those type of services are available in all of Minnesota. Right.
As the one Metro legislator here, I would say I strongly agree with the importance of the broadband because, as you mentioned, there are a lot of businesses that could locate anywhere as long as they have the good broadband access. And I think surprised the governor pushed hard for it again this year, and I think it's likely to continue moving that way. I think we should move as aggressively as we can so every corner of the state has it, because so many times people have some big project that's going to be the economic development engine that surprises anyone. I think giving people the tools they need, which broadband is one of them, I think that would be a huge thing in a lot of small communities. It gives people the chance to work there.
Well, yeah, it's fundamental infrastructure anymore. And it does create opportunity. And I think about, I have a place up in Wadena County, and West Central Telephone has brought fiber optic to all the homes in their 3,500 or so exchanges. And I think of the boy who lives next door. He's got that for as he goes to studies at school. But what if he's an entrepreneur in a few years? And what that sets up for economic development in an area that might not have a whole lot of other options. That's one model. I think the phone co-op model is really a good one to look at. Another one is RS Fiber out of Winthrop. They were actually in my office today, and I had a chance to really commend them. They've been working for, I think, about 6, 8, 10 years now, and their job has been to connect the small towns around there. Lafayette's in my district, and towns opted in to join the effort, and the support of the state in helping to finance the infrastructure is absolutely vital. My last story is a buddy of mine who does some international construction, and until a couple of years ago he had horrible access to the internet and needed to download complex documents, plans. Fortunately, it was a night owl, so he would do it at 3 in the morning. But we want to have that sort of opportunity, and I think it really opens up many more sorts of business opportunities in the countryside. That it makes the investment well worth it.
And in the past, I've been the chief author of the broadband bill in the House, and this year my colleague Sandy Lehman is carrying that from Grand Rapids. She has a higher number than the governor, I think. She just heard her bill today. $51 million is what she's shooting for. It's a big number, but there's a big need out there. So I would support that. I'm one of her co-authors. But we also want to make sure we're looking at the newest technology. I know we did see satellite today. I'm not there yet with satellite, but a couple years ago I wasn't with wireless either. And things are improving. And I think we have to make sure that our language is such that we keep the technology options open, and if something does turn up to be the right thing at the right time, maybe this would work out. But I'm a big supporter of rural broadband. I know Kaneohe County is a one that's in need, but we are seeing some real improvements with some private investment locally here in our area, something we have to keep pushing.
You know, it was interesting, Representative Johnson, when you mentioned cutting-edge technology coming out of Winthrop. We sometimes lose sight of the fact that Minnesota has cutting-edge technology in places that maybe most people don't expect to find it. And I had the great good fortune to work with some folks from the Hutchinson Telephone Company, and then they were bought by the New Ulm Telecom, and both of those institutions were actually ahead of some of the larger metropolitan areas. So there's a lot moving, a lot of pieces moving out there on this topic.